Well, the World City Summit Mayoral Dialogues is delighted to welcome the Mayor of Antwerp, Bart de Wever. Mr. de Wever was elected in 2012 and became mayor in January 2013. He's the leader of the new Flemish Alliance Party since 2004 and a senior figure in Belgian politics. Welcome to the Mayoral Dialogue, Mayor Bart de Wever.
Thank you very much, Chris. Nice to see you.
Great to have you here. Let me ask you our first question, if I may. So I really want to know, Mr. Mayor, what motivates you for this very important role? Why and how did you become the city mayor of Antwerp?
Actually, it was quite a coincidence. I already had a career in national politics as chairman of the largest political party of my country and as congressman. But I was never active at the city level, and at a certain moment in time, they told me it's quite logical that you should run for mayor. I never thought about it before, and I was elected in 2012. And I'm happy to say that although it was a coincidence, it became the most rewarding political position that I ever held. I prefer to stay mayor, and I'd like to stay mayor for a long time. And if I would summarize it in one word, it's tangibility. I have the impression that I see the consequences of my decisions when I drive home through the window of the car or when I walk through the city. It's that's the real motivation. At the city level, you can make a difference and you can improve the lives of your citizens in a very direct way and address the challenges that this city faces, like all cities fast in Europe, fast changing demographics, the need for more greening, more public space, big infrastructural works. And we got to work on it. So we launched enormous projects, and I would like to see them finished. And for that, you need at least 3 terms.
Well, Mr. Mayor, the very important point there about needing 3 terms, but also why it's so important for talented politicians to lead at the local level, not just at the national level. Now, you've had the most extraordinary year, as all city mayors have, while we've had this global pandemic. How has Antwerp proved to be resilient and agile during the pandemic, and what innovations have already occurred?
Well, it was quite a challenge, like all over the world. Nobody was prepared for a pandemic. For us, we are a port city. We're the second port of Europe, second petrochemical cluster of the world. So our first concern was to keep that fully operational. That's vital to the European economy and also to supplying all citizens with the necessary goods. So we got to work on that, and we try to innovate, asking one of our local companies, Rombit, to develop a wearable that laborers in the port are warned if they come too close to one another, so social distancing can be respected. And I'm happy to say that we kept the port operational 24/7. And of course, at the city level, it was the question of managing the health crisis, which means taking measures, the necessary measures. We had to develop a test strategy, build a test village, a vaccination strategy at the local level. We built a vaccination village, which is up and running. And finally, when we got the vaccines, now we're at a very good pace in getting our people vaccinated, I hope by summer. We're, of course, looking forward to launching a recovery plan. I think government must step in to get things going again, also at the level of the local economy. For that, we're also focusing on a lot of innovative new solutions. Every crisis is an opportunity.
Mr. Mayor, it's a fascinating roster of things that you're doing, and my interest was particularly piqued by this wearable technology that you've invented in Antwerp that helps people to social distance. Very interesting innovation. I'm sure the other mayors will be interested in that. When we look at the short term ahead then, Mr. Mayor, we think about the next 24 months. What are the most important adaptations that you'll be making in Antwerp to address all of this disruption?
Well, we hope to move from the day-to-day management of the crisis of the pandemic. We hope to leave that behind us and to evolve towards a more structural, positive approach on urban health. We are trying to facilitate private businesses to grow. We've been attracting a lot of investments the last few years. We had a good thing going in the petrochemical industry. We had the largest investment in the world with Ineos building new factories. And the fact that that came to Antwerp, that came to the continent, was something that We met with great enthusiasm. Progress is the key. I think we need growth solutions for the problems we have, that we combine them with growth, innovation, and new jobs. And that requires confidence that we can do it. And I think certainly at the city level, this is a key level to restore confidence. If you want to persuade people that we can move forward without going back in time, the city level is the level on which you can do it. And you need to do it.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. This year, the whole world is going to convene in Glasgow at COP26 to discuss all of this. What is Antwerp doing to address the future of our planet, and how important is this to you as mayor?
Well, it is it's becoming a key issue also at the local level. Citizens want to see this problem addressed. It undermines their faith in the future, so you need to address it. At the city level, we have rethought everything we're doing in terms of city development, who is becoming more and more sustainable. In the Big Link project, first that was a pure mobility project. We were going to expand our road capacity, but the plans have changed quite dramatically to combine the mobility solutions with livability solutions. And we've managed to persuade the national governments to put in billions to cover large parts of our ring roads, just like in Singapore, like I saw there. On the surface, you can create a lot of green space, space where you can collect water. We've been reconstructing the quays of our river to be prepared also for the consequences of superstorms. We've attracted what we call a climate director, which is an independent functionary, a Dutch lady who lives in Brussels and who has done that also in Holland at the national level, climate strategy, with climate tables, with the industry and the population. And we've invited to do exactly the same thing here in Antwerp, to start climate tables, talking with our industry partners, talking with all groups in society that can take on responsibility. And also, of course, to communicate with the broad population that we can make the energy transition, that we can make the climate transition without losing our prosperity.
That's a fascinating innovation, Mr. Mayor, to appoint an independent climate ambassador or champion to lead the work at the city level. Looking forward then to the next 5 years, Mr. Mayor, taking into account all of the adaptations that are happening as a result of the pandemic and these other changes, how do you think our cities will be different in 5 years' time?
And I think we need really global cooperation on this. Certainly also at the city level, we should sit at the table, hopefully get physical conferences going again, and we should address that issue and learn from each other what went wrong and how we can be prepared much better for challenges that took us by surprise. I'm certain that what we have been doing, greening our areas, creating more open space, thinking about how the growth of our city should be managed in city development programs, that also there lessons will be learned, and that a lot of interesting lessons can be shared. I personally am not ashamed to admit that my visits from Singapore to Singapore were very, learned me a lot, and the visits to the city, the Center for Livable Cities, learned me a lot, and then I took home a lot of good ideas and that we are trying to put into practice, and we will need much more of that. Finally, I think that a project that Singapore has been working on is something we've been looking at as well, and we're still in the process of looking for the right strategy, the right answers to enhance citizen participation in city government, to work less from top down and more from bottom up, but without delaying your capacity to make decisions. That's the big challenge that every city in the world has to face. You need to invite people to feel more responsible together for what happens in our cities. But you need to avoid, of course, that everybody becomes mayor. At the end of the day, you need the capacity to decide. These are a few elements, I think, in the next years that will confront every major city in the world.
Mr. Mayor, I like your final point that you have to avoid the situation where everybody becomes the mayor. But what a compelling agenda you've described for our cities and our city leaders over the next 5 years. It's been a great honor to have you on the Mayoral Dialogue for the World Cities Summit 2021. Thank you very much to the Mayor of Antwerp, Bart de Wever.
Thank you, Greg. I was very, very happy to be able to participate in this way. And I hope to see all my colleagues again in Singapore or wherever in the world to exchange ideas as soon as possible.